The coastal tour began at Castara. Leroy told the group a true story about a past Castara estate slave and plantation owner called Patrick Ferguson. It was September the 11th in the year 1777 when Patrick Ferguson spared the life of enemy General George Washington, who later went on to become the first president of the United States. Patrick Ferguson was considered Britain's best marksman and was credited with having designed the Ferguson rifle, which was loaded from the rear rather than the front of the weapon. This enabled him and his specially trained British soldiers under his command to load their weapons much faster than the French eschewed muskets that the American soldiers used. Patrick and his men were also able to easily load their weapons from a lying down or standing position with an ease that was not possible with the French muskets. The French rifle had greater accuracy also than the French muskets. When Ferguson and his men found George Washington at close range in the company of only one other American soldier, the future first United States president had no chance of escape. Patrick Ferguson did not like the idea of such an easy kill, so he shouted to the American general to leave the area, sparing the life of George Washington. Not long after his brief encounter with George Washington, Patrick Ferguson was himself killed by American revolutionaries. There are conflicting accounts of what happened to Patrick Ferguson's body, but by all accounts it was not properly disposed of, and by one account his body was left to be eaten by wolves. Patrick's Castara estate was inherited by his brother George Ferguson, who as governor of Tobago later lost that island to the French, whose first stronghold in Tobago was Concordia estate. Cannonballs from the Anglo-French wars of that period can be found at Concordia estate today in their museum. As interesting as Leroy's story was, it was not quite as exciting as when the group boarded the coastal tour boat at Castara and began catching fish along the Caribbean seaside of the island. This continued until they saw wild dolphins swimming in a pod alongside their boat.